there is something very fascinating about Pakistan-China relations, and it has continued to create all kinds of doubts and suspicions in the minds of scholars in other parts of the world. There is so much that brings about a lack of understanding as to what exactly brings China and Pakistan together. First of all, I would say that the very history of our relations reveals the fact that notwithstanding huge differences between the peoples of the two countries, between the political philosophies of the two countries, and so much more, and yet what puzzles a lot of people, especially in the Western world, is why are China and Pakistan such close friends? I have had the good fortune of visiting China, and I did not do so by either the Chinese airlines or the Pakistani airlines. I traveled from Moscow to Beijing some 50 plus years ago by the Grand Siberian Railway line, which took me a mere 6 days and 6 nights. And during that period, my Chinese friends in the Beijing embassy in Moscow had advised me that in addition to carrying large amounts of canned food, which I would need over the 6 days, I should also carry with me a large number of books on Chinese history, Chinese philosophy, and more importantly, the great legendary books about China that are thousands of years old, including, if my memory is still there, Dream of Red Mansions, Journey to the West, and so on. That gave me a window into understanding the Chinese mind, the Chinese psyche. But I want to tell you also, the young people here, that not all Pakistani leaders were as inept as you now accuse them of being. As far back as 1954, the Pakistani Prime Minister was visiting Bandung for a conference of the non-aligned countries. And there he did something which was totally unexpected. He reached out to Premier Zhou Enlai, not merely to introduce himself, but to assure the Chinese Prime Minister that notwithstanding the reasons why we had joined the Western Alliance, but the fact remained that we had the best of intentions as regards our northern neighbor, that is China. And assuring the Chinese Prime Minister, the legendary Zhou Enlai, that Pakistan would never ever engage in any activity that harms or hurts China. I'm sharing this because it's very important for the younger people to know that this is not a recent phenomenon. China and Pakistan have had relations that go back to our very foundations. We were amongst the first to recognize China. We were amongst the first to lobby for China's admission into the United Nations. Our ambassadors and our ministers would go around capital to capital telling them that the United Nations cannot be a global organization without China sitting in it. Chairman Mao and Zhou Enlai, they are legendary figures. The steps that they took are known to many of us. But I want to tell you that President Xi Jinping represents the collective wisdom, not merely of those who are his colleagues at the present time, but those who had preceded him. And China respects and honors all its leaders, unlike us. And therefore, the Chinese leaders' decision-making process is a process in which the collective intelligence, acumen, and wisdom of the leaders are pooled in. And from that emerges the decision. And therefore, the decisions are always to the advantage not merely of China, but of the entire region. I also want to share with you that I was very fortunate. I was in Beijing when the first agreement relating to cooperation in nuclear energy was finalized. And again, I was very fortunate when the Prime Minister of that time responded to the invitation from the Chinese leaders, and within a few days of coming into power in 2013, he decided to send some of his officials to China, and I was fortunate to be in it, where we first learned of what today is this global initiative, which is known as the BRI. The BRI has spread all over the world, far away from China, into the dark interior of Africa, and into the distant waters of the Caribbean and Latin America. And the first element, the first chapter of BRI is SAPM. How fortunate is Pakistan that China should have chosen Pakistan to be the first country to be offered the first opening symphony of the grand orchestra that is known as BRI. We should be thankful to the Chinese leadership and thankful to the Almighty that He has given the wisdom to the leaders of the two countries to recognize that cooperation between them is not merely good for the two countries, it is good for peace and stability of the entire region.
The friendship between countries lies in the friendship between peoples, and the friendship between peoples lies in the mutual understanding. As Pakistan's leading think tank, ISSI has made outstanding contributions to promoting mutual understanding and exchanges between China and Pakistan. The China-Pakistan Study Center actively organizes various China-related activities, providing an important platform for Pakistani people to understand China. Chinese embassy has been cooperating with ISSI to set up the China Corner and donated a batch of books and CDs introducing China. We would like to especially thank ISSI and the China-Pakistan Study Center for your long-time contribution and also the dedication and hard working for setting up the China Corner. We hope that China Corner will be a new window for Pakistani people to learn about China and will be a new bridge of communication and exchanges between our two peoples. So today, I'd like to also take this opportunity to talk about a few ideas about understanding China and China-Pakistan relations.
This is in the nature of Pakistan-China friendship. We speak, sometimes it seems like there is a repetition, but I think our relationship is such that needs these reiterations and reaffirmations. So with that, I would say that it's a great privilege for me to be at this inauguration ceremony of the China Corner. I join others in commending the Institute for this initiative that reflects the depth and vitality of Pakistan-China relations. And as has been said, this is going to be more than a room filled with books and resources. I think and I'm confident that it would be a space to honor a friendship that has transcended the traditional construct of interstate relations and has gained strength with every passing year. The Pakistan-China friendship is often described in poetic metaphors like higher than the mountains, deeper than the oceans, and sweeter than honey. After having spent 1 year, I have served in China before, I can say with a high degree of confidence that these are not just words. Pakistan-China friendship is a reality built on, as Ambassador Suhail Mahmood said, and I tend to call it TSR, and that's the mutual trust, mutual support, and mutual respect. These are the foundational principles of our relationship. Over the years, this relationship has expanded from political and diplomatic relations to economic domain, people-to-people ties, and much more.
The ISSI has had a long-standing China focus and is home to the China-Pakistan Study Center, the CPSC, dedicated to work on all facets of Pakistan-China relations, as well as China's foreign policy, major global initiatives, and diplomatic engagement with the world.